When Roger Goodell so openly started talking about 18 games, in my mind, I was like, all right, there's no way they don't have an angle here. Like, there's just no way that he's going to relatively callously drop that. I think it was with McAfee during the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like what we kept saying with the Harris people as they were slowly buying the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
And like these people, people are like, oh, how could Magic say that on TV? There were no accidents. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I don't think Roger Goodell goes.
But they've been talking about 18 games now for 4 or 5 years or longer.
But not like it rumored. Like, oh, we might explore that. For Roger to be like, yo, I want 18. That's the goal.
That hadn't been a rumor for the last 4 or 5 years, Jay.
Well,
that's been something they've been pushing for.
But the only way they're going to get it is if they can get a new deal with the Players Association.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they might be on their way here. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, says, end of OTAs? ? The NFL Players Association is working to finalize a proposal to overhaul the offseason starting as soon as 2025, eliminating voluntary on-field work in the spring in favor of a longer training camp ramp-up with players reporting in mid-June to early July, per sources.
But I don't think, to be totally honest with you, if I'm one of the reps, that wouldn't sway me at all.
You've been clear that it's got to be another percentage point.
It got to be some more money and some more ownership. And my whole thing is, if I don't go to OTAs, I'm still working out. I'm still getting ready to play football. The one thing I always tell you, the one tool you have as a professional athlete is your body, right? So if I got to come to training camp earlier, that ramp up period, they do 3.5 weeks now. When are they going to make them come 2 weeks, 3 weeks before?
I don't know, and this is very vague, right? I just think if Goodell just a few weeks ago, right? It was at the draft, which is 5 weeks ago now, starts openly talking about 18 games again. Not that it hadn't been mentioned, certainly to your point. It's been talked about, but it seemed like a new push. And now all of a sudden there's something the PA might want changed. It seems like there's a path there.
But those two things don't fit financially. And I think that the people in charge now over there, they know about finances. It's going to have to be more than that. It might be that plus something else, but it's not going to be just that.
Sure.
On top of it, coaches, and I guarantee the owners, you better do their research. If I have everybody show up in late June, early July for a ramp-up period, how much time do I have to get anybody healthy when that season is going to be starting right there at the beginning of September? This OTA thing that's going on now, you allow people to gradually get healthier, and if somebody get a nick early, you can have them back by the time the season starts. This new way you won't be able to do that. Because let's be real, those people that are already dedicated to their craft, they're going to work out, they're going to build up, they're going to be ready when they come.
I totally agree with that.
But there's way more people who are not going to do a damn thing when they're not at a facility with the other people.
I think about, tell me if you agree with this, but I'm going to say roughly 2/3 of players on specifically this team don't live in the DC area full time.
Yeah.
About 1/3 of them kind of have made this home.
Yeah.
But most guys live elsewhere.
True.
Atlanta, Orlando, Charlotte, Texas. Like there's a lot of places where a lot of NFL players tend to live. If you get done, say the season ends, hell, let's have them go to the playoffs. So the season doesn't end until mid-January.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of don't have to be back till late June rather than come back, go home, come back, go home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that gives you 6 months wherever home is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think there are guys that would appreciate that. Money's always going to be the far more important factor.
Yeah. Guys will appreciate it, but it comes to a point where the person paying you, they appreciate you being in tip-top shape, right? So you mean to tell me that the people that are in your training facility, your strength and conditioning people, are they even is it worth to pay them now?
That's a
Because if I let you go home for 6 months, hell, I'm only paying for half the year now.
That's a good point.
So for me, if this has anything to do with the 18 games, that might be a part of it, but it damn sure is not going to be a equal share.
Well, it's also, I mean, this time period is so vague. If you got a report in mid-June, how much extra time are you getting?
That's what I'm saying. So the way people have to be careful, you getting rid of voluntary OTAs. What if this new thing is mandatory?
So, I think it will be.
So that's what I'm saying.
I got an article on it here with more information. The current offseason workout program, which is collectively bargained, which means the owners and the union agreed, is a voluntary 9-week offseason program broken down into 3 phases, which include meetings, phase 1, on-field individual drills, phase 2, and organized team activities, phase 3. That's where teams are now.
Mm-hmm.
Teams can conduct 1 mandatory minicamp for veterans during phase 3. That's coming up in like 10 days in Ashburn. For most clubs, the offseason program starts in mid-April and runs through mid-June. A roughly 6-week summer break lasts until training camps kick off in mid to late July. Per Pelissero, and this is the person we've had on the program, under new leadership since July of 23, the NFLPA has sought feedback from players on adjusting the offseason schedule, with the majority supporting the changes, Pelissero reported. Here's the other thing that's interesting, B, is what the NFL has done truly like a magical job of becoming a year-round discussion point, right? Does this hurt that? If you don't have OTAs to get
it
cameras,
does hurt.
You know what I mean?
You're not there week in and week out, but then they do have a hell of a build up to when everybody show up for the first time. But I did that for 14 years, bro. And I'm here to tell them. And these players can say what the hell they want. It ain't the same when you're at home compared to when you're here with your guys. So that ramp up period is going to be necessary. And if it's necessary, I mean, I'm going to make it a little more strenuous, which they seem to run away from any damn way. So how many players are going to be nicked up and hurt coming into my actual season?
But how much better might those early season games be if,
Will they be?
Early in the year, it looks pretty rough right now. So maybe if you have less.
Early in the year is
April
rough now because they don't put any emphasis on
hitting
training camp. They don't put emphasis on preseason. That's why it's rough. But I did OTAs. We had longer training camp. Our early games were still better because we got ready to play football. Right now, the concern seems to always be getting somebody in shape or to that level. Isn't that your job? I'm telling you, when I would go over in the off season, I lived here year round since 1990, April of 90. I've been here year round. When I would go over to the facility, when it was the regular workout stuff, wasn't a ton of people there.
Right.
The people that live here were here. The people weren't. And we knew who was going to come back out of shape, and we knew who was going to come back in shape. And I think right now they know who those people are too.
Jeffrey, what's your gut tell you? They move around OTAs to get to 18?
I think it's going to happen because they've been pressing for 18 games for a minute now. But as B said,
money talks.
It's going to have some bad reactions too. We're going to see a lot more injuries. I hate to say it, but it's what happens.
You think the move to 18 games will create a lot more injuries?
Yeah, especially without OTAs, because as B said, they were getting their bodies ready to play football. That's an imperative part of going into a season, especially that long.
And but then they will be getting their bodies ready closer to the season.
Yeah.
And dude, the way these guys work out, everybody's going to be working out, whether it's here or
that ain't true.
I think it's good
Everybody
for
ain't going to be working out. Some guys work out only when they're in that building. And even at this day and age, they do. I'll say this, okay? when you were running all the time, how did you feel?
I want to run more.
Felt better, didn't
Right.
you?
Yeah.
When you didn't do it for a certain period, let's
My
say
back
5,
started
6
going.
months,
Yeah.
then you started doing it again because you say, oh, I got to catch up. So you do more. How you felt?
Bad. My hips.
You
My
think
hips lie.
they're fine-tuned athletes. You know what you do with fine-tuned cars? You have to be more meticulous with them and work on them even harder.
Yeah.
Same thing with the athletes.
Yeah, good comment from the chat from Ed Donnier. They say 18 games is wild. They should move the roster number to high 50s, 58 or 59 people on the roster because injuries will be higher. I think that will work.
Well, dude, they've kind of already done that. You expanded the practice squad, and now you're able to promote up and down from the practice squad the night before.
Yeah.
So they've already given them more roster flexibility.
But I think what he may be saying is instead of 47, 48 being dressed out on Sunday, it might need to be 50 plus.
Yeah, might need to dress more. Landini, what's your radar tell you? I'm not saying it should happen, but I see this news a couple weeks after Rodgers talking, and I just feel like this is their path to get to 18 games. Hey guys, we will overhaul the offseason. You guys sign here, more money for everybody.
See, I see that as a part of it. I don't think that's the end all be all.
Sure.
Especially if I have to say anything to my man Lloyd, I'll say this here that's not worth it. Percentage of that share. That's worth it.
I wonder if they try to get 2 buys in there. I wonder if they go back to opening
You
Labor
give
Day
me 2
weekend.
buys all you want. You're adding another game, which means you're getting paid more money as an NFL. I want some of that. Because nobody's coming to see the player.
Honest question.
I mean, the owners, they come to see the players.
Isn't it the same amount of game checks?
When?
Or would it be an additional game check because it's a regular season
If you
game?
add an 18th game.
Isn't that another check?
But see, that's the thing about it. That 18th game is there. They get paid off of 18 games, per se. So you could say you could make 2 more buys. There's still 2 more weeks I got to work, right?
But don't they get another game check with the 18th game?
I would hope so.
I would think so,
yeah,
right?
but I don't want that game check to be 18 separate things of what I'm making right now. It needs to be an additional
right.
salary on top of that.
If I make $100 over 17 games, I don't want to make $100 over 18 games.
I mean,
I want to make
100 plus.
110.
Yeah,
right. Okay, I see what you're saying. Landini, what's your radar tell you?
Yeah, they're definitely going to go to 18 games.